welcome back to my equestrian journey. It's been a while. It's been a year. I took some time off. It's been kind of a weird year for everybody, I think, but a lot has happened. I've moved barns, still only have 2 horses, so you know that's good. But anyways, I'm trying to start the channel back up because I enjoyed it, and something that I've wanted to do for a long time, so I'm going to try to stick with it. So we're here at the barn. I've just gotten here and I have plans to ride both horses today. I've got a couple of things that I've got to put away first because I have some, Christmas gifts and things like that that I need to organize, but then we're going to grab a horse and we're going to tack up and ride, and I'm hoping that, maybe I'll get some good content today. This may turn into multiple videos, so let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm here in the arena and I have set up 2 different exercises. The first, well, 3 I guess technically. The first one is just 2 ground poles, and these are about 7 strides at the canter for Lilo. And so one thing that I'm working on with her is transitions, because I'm trying to build up some top line and get her to use herself a little bit better. So the first thing that I'm going to do with these is I'm going to do walk-trot transitions and trot-walk transitions like at each pole. So, as I'm coming around at the walk, then I will pick up a trot at one pole and go to a walk at the other pole, and I'm going for precision there and trying to get her to respond quickly to my aids. So that's one exercise. And then over here I've got some trot poles set up. There's 8 trot poles. She's done trot poles before, but never this many. And I really want her to reach under herself and, round out her back and really be using herself well. So that's what we're going to be trying to accomplish there. And then, like I said, these are actually canter poles. So if we feel up to cantering today, she's had some time off, so I'm just going to kind of play it by ear. But here we have some canter poles. So if we want to canter, then we can, and we can play with some distances and some of her I can't think of the word, but basically playing with, how many strides we can get in between the poles. So, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go and grab Lilo, and we are going to get tacked up, and we are going to see how this goes. Where do you think you're going, Mama? Where do you think you're going, huh? You're gonna be feisty today, aren't you? Are you gonna be excited today? Are you going to be crazy today? Yeah. See, I'm gonna be a little crazy. Okay, here we go. There we go. Beautiful. Where are you going? Where are you going? All right. Whatever. Are you gonna be a little crazy? It's okay, kitty. You can stay out here in the sun. It's all right. I don't mind. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna be so crazy today. Oh Lord. Oh, there's another person. Great. Fantastic. going to run like a crazy person, okay? That person's not any of our business. Come on. Come on. An elk? Oh my god. Girl. Relax. Yeah? Relax. Yeah, I know. It's another person. Holy crap. Girl, you've ridden with other people before. Hey. Relax. Alright, you know what? You want to run around and be crazy? Why don't you go be crazy before I get on you, yeah? So you don't want to be crazy? No? Alright. Well, you just, sort your life out, okay? Yeah, that's about what I thought. What are you doing? Okay. Are you done? Are you finished? You better? You feel better? Yeah? No? Maybe? It's okay. My word. You're crazy. Oh my goodness. Don't run away. Yeah, hide. Yeah, don't hit that. You better? You good? Yeah? Hey, don't leave. Oh, Lord have mercy. Are you better? Feel good about yourself? Yeah? You feel better? Okay. You sure? You promise? Come here. So I wanted to come on and do a voiceover really quick about this because I think this is a really important part of our ride today. So after she finished throwing her little tantrum because she wants to go and be a barrel horse, which is fine. I mean, she's allowed to express those feelings. She came over to me and stopped, but she didn't want me to put the reins on over her head yet, which tells me that she wasn't ready to move on from watching that other horse. She was still a little bit worried about that or a little bit interested in that. And she just wasn't quite ready to get back to work, and she's allowed to have those feelings. I think the biggest mistake that people make with horses is not allowing them to express those emotions and have that moment to think. So you can see here she's still watching that other horse that's over in the other pasture, but when she's done, she turns her head back around to me, like right now, and then I put the reins over her head, and she's ready to go. I didn't have to have a fight with her. She didn't have to pitch a fit. There was never anything forceful about this interaction. It just was allowing her to have a moment and think about it and let me know when she was ready, and just being aware enough to listen to that. So I'm going to switch to a voiceover for the riding portion of this video because I think it's more helpful for you guys than to just listen to the wind blow, as much fun as that might be, or the planes fly overhead or whatever. So I'm just going to do a voiceover and talk about what we're doing and why. And so the first thing here, obviously, we are mounting, and since she was so interested in that other horse over practicing the barrel pattern, I just took mounting really slow today. I just wanted to make sure that she wasn't going to run off or anything when I was in the middle of getting on. I didn't want to get unbalanced, I didn't want to fall off, so just always taking that extra minute to let them think if they need it. So she's usually pretty good, and honestly, I trust this mare with my life. I think I could have gotten on her when she was excited and she would have been fine, but I always just prefer to let them have that moment if they need it. So first I'm just going to walk her around a bit. I just like to have her, especially when she's been a little bit up and a little bit energetic, I just want to walk her around and let her kind of settle and stretch a little bit, and I like to get a little bit warmed up, so it's just a good warm-up. I usually do at least a lap both directions walking before I ask for anything else, and just depending on the day, I might ask them for some like bend and different things like that. On circles, serpentines, there's a lot of different things you can do with the walk. On this particular day, I just did a quick walk both directions just to do a warm-up. In this entire ride, she was really good, like there was nothing wrong, but she was quite energetic still, and she was quite focused on that other horse. And you'll see that a bit more when we go into like the trot. She was really excited. The walk is really good. She's a really sweet horse, and she's not going to do anything dangerous. But especially when we start trotting and and all of that, she was very excited. She definitely wanted to run. So again, just walking, you can see that she gets a bit distracted, and this is about where my GoPro's about to run out of space, so we're going to lose the GoPro footage. But you can see that she keeps looking outside the arena. She's not super focused on me, and so a lot of the walking is just, getting her to refocus and recenter and pay a little bit more attention. So then we go into a trot. And as you can see, she does not want to trot. She wants to canter because, like I said, she was just really excited. I was only asking for a trot, but then she actually picked up her left lead, which is her more difficult lead. So I was like, well, I guess we're just going to kind of go with it. So we had a little bit of a canter around the arena. And when she started to pick up a little bit more speed, I asked her to come back down into a trot. See, she's really focused on this other horse. She really wants to be running. She wants to be participating in what's going on over there. And so a lot of today's trot work was really focused on just bringing our speed down a little bit and asking for a more, I don't really know what the word is that I'm looking for. I just wanted her to not be quite so lacking in rhythm, I guess, because she'd trot kind of slow and then she'd trot kind of fast. She was kind of all over the place. And so a lot of the trot work today was just trying to get her to chill out and pay a little bit more attention, because you'll see there's many times that she kind of breaks into a canter. Look at her. Look at her go. She was so excited and she just wanted to run so badly. And she kind of threw a little bit of a temper tantrum there with her head, but like I said, she's a good girl. Like, she really isn't going to do anything dangerous. She's just going to see a little bit. Some of this is just testing me, seeing what she can get away with. Some of it's just her being excited. I'm never getting angry about that. I'm just simply asking her to come back down to a trot and see. We're just really distracted. So, just in all of this trot work, doing a couple of circles, and actually now that I'm watching this, I could have shortened my reins up a little bit. We're a little crazy there. But doing some circles and asking for some bend and asking for that relaxation back. She was really strong. You may be able to see I was definitely having to do a lot more work than I normally have to do with her just to keep her at the trot. And a lot more strong. Like, I'm normally quite soft with my hands, and I normally don't have to do all that much, but on this particular day there was definitely a lot of back and forth, a lot of breaking from the trot to the canter and having to bring her back down. So it was just a really interesting ride. You know, she's not normally quite this strong, so it was something that was different that I had to kind of work through with her, and I think that that's a good thing, you know, when they challenge us and make us think of things in different ways. I think the important part about this, though, is that it's never about getting angry. It's never, you know, I'm never upset. You know, she's allowed to tell me, I mean, basically what she's telling me with this is she's saying, hey, Mom, I really want to run. I really want to go faster. I really want to, you know, I want to go and do that. And I think that that's totally valid. I mean, I think that, you know, she's allowed to have those feelings, and I think that we have to be aware of that. And like I said, she's not doing anything particularly dangerous. It's just things that maybe I'm not asking for. And so we just keep asking until she gives the right answer. And some of this trot work, I mean, as as I'm watching this back, I'm like, some of this trotting is actually quite nice. You know, she tends to trot a bit quickly anyway. I mean, she would much prefer to be cantering or something else other than instead of trotting. But so we started to do the trot poles. I realized belatedly that I maybe did the trot poles slightly too far apart for her. She's got kind of a short stride, so I really should have put them a little bit closer, just like half a foot closer together. And you can see she really wanted to canter, and I'm like, they're not canter poles, we got to trot. So I just did a circle. A mistake that I used to make a lot as a kid was that I forgot that I had reins, and so if I started going at something like a jump or poles or something and it wasn't right, I would just go with it. But now I really prefer to circle and try to get it right before. And see, that was a much better. I mean, she really had to stretch, like they should have been a little bit closer together, but she did really, really nicely, and we got a really nice extended trot that she really had to focus and think. So I really like these poles. Anything with pole work I think is really good for them, because you can see she's got to like look at it and think about it. She doesn't like to do poles to the left. The left is her harder direction, so they're a lot harder for her this way. And so she definitely tries to like squeak out the side. You can see she kind of like boops on over to the left. And so I just, I turn her around and we go back through. Again, it's not about punishing her. It's not about, being angry. She's allowed to make mistakes. She's allowed to do things wrong. It's just about going back and making that correction. So then the next time I just did a little half, not really a half circle, but I kind of cut the arena in half and came through again. And this time I had my inside leg much more on and giving her a little bit more support. And you can see that that was much, much nicer. So then, because she had done it right, I just let her have a moment to walk, gave her a pat, and then we went right back to what we were doing. So this is the other side. This is the exercise I was talking about where it was working on transitions. So that initial walk to trot transition was quite messy. It took her a minute to figure out that, oh, hey, I'm trying to go faster. And then you can see that when I ask her to slow back down into the walk, she manages to get a few steps further before she actually comes down. And that's pretty common for her. She does not like to slow down. This is a theme that we're talking about a lot today, that she just likes to go fast. She would rather run. She would rather go fast. That's one thing that makes her she's really good at speed events because of that. But it does make it a bit harder for anything like any precision. So that was a little bit better. She could have gone a bit sooner, but that was better. And then again, see, she just flies on right past that pole. And we get quite far away before we actually manage to come down into a walk. She does improve, though. I mean, that's the thing with horses. Even if it's not perfect, you're just looking for, so that was much better. That was a much nicer transition. And you're just looking for them to be a little bit better each time. And then this here, she still goes a bit too far, but not quite as far as she did the last time. So that was still a bit better than what it was. And she's starting to figure out what I'm asking now. She's definitely the kind of horse that she will try to anticipate, and she'll try to, figure out what the exercise is so that she can do it better. And so she does. So here, that was a really nice upwards transition. And then coming to the other pole, we're asking for a walk. And that was actually kind of terrible. She's still not, okay, there we go. We finally got a walk. So yeah, so as you can see, her downward transitions are definitely where she struggles. And that's something that she's always struggled with because she always wants to run. And going to the left like this, I think why did I change direction? That's weird. You know, sometimes watching things back, you're just like, why did I do that? That was nice. That was a good upwards. And nope, blew past the pole. But yeah, it's really interesting because sometimes you can feel one thing when you're on them, and then you go back and you watch the video and you're like, wait, what? Why did I do that? I mean, I'm sure there was a reason at the time, but it's been a week since I filmed this, so, I mean, my memory's not the greatest anyway. And that's lovely. And that was a bit better. It's like we almost got down to the trot, or to the walk. We almost got there, and then I let up on the pressure, and she was like, "Oh, we're still trotting?" No, friend, we're supposed to be walking. So, yeah. So this is definitely, I mean, it's really eye opening. I definitely recommend if you can ever video yourself and see kind of where your strengths and weaknesses are. It's really, really helpful. So, yep, beautiful, lovely. And that was so much better. That was so nice. And since that was a really, really good one, I was like, okay, great, that's brilliant. And I think we left it there. That exercise anyway. And then we just did a bit of a canter. One thing that I have done with her a lot is I tend to do like walk to canter transitions, and they're not beautiful. But I don't often like go to the trot and then ask. You can see there she was anticipating. So I've been trying to do more trot to canter transitions with her lately, and so they're not bad. I mean, like I said, she just wants to run around. The canter is probably my weakest gait, and so it's sometimes quite difficult for me to really feel balanced, and that's something that I'm working on. I used to be better, but it's I'm a bit out of shape. So we had a nice little canter there until I asked her to slow down, and then we got a bit disunited there with the canter, and I didn't really realize that until watching the video back. So I just did a little bit. She's had a lot of time off and been in the pasture for a little bit, so I say that. I've been doing a lot more groundwork with both of my horses lately, and so they haven't been doing as much ridden work, as much like strenuous work. There we go. And so I was really impressed with her here because her left lead is definitely very, very difficult for her. You can see actually she's just kind of running away because she's really unbalanced. She doesn't know what to do with herself. She doesn't know how to carry that, and so she just kind of goes fast because she doesn't know what else to do. So this is a bit better. This is a nicer, more balanced canter. Still not perfect by any stretch, but definitely better. But what I was saying is I wasn't going to canter her a ton today because she's a bit out of work as well, and so if she's a bit out of shape, I'm really trying to focus on doing like walk and trot to build her back up a bit, because it's really important. Like, I don't want to overwork her, especially not in the winter when it's a little bit chilly and she's quite hairy because I don't clip my horses. So I definitely didn't want to overheat her or overwork her. And then I just, tell her good girl, because she's brilliant and lovely and wonderful. You can see how much she's settled, though. That other horse has gone out of the pasture now. And throughout the course of the ride, when we started doing the poles and things like that, she did get a lot better and a lot more focused. And that's really what I was looking for from her today. So I think she did well overall. I think that there were some successes. I think that there are things that we can still keep working on, if I can talk. But that's every ride. So I didn't get a lot of footage of tacking up Nani because my GoPro had run out of space, so I didn't really have a whole lot to work with. But as you can see, we got her out of the field, groomed her, tacked her up. And so the first thing that I like to do with Nani, because she's quite sensitive and she's quite anxious, when I first got her, she was kind of shut down. And once I kind of got her out of that, we went into like anxious mode. And so she finds this side of the arena with all the trees extremely scary. She's like absolutely, like, she used to be super, super terrified over there. Like, she didn't want to go over there. She would spook. She would freak out. So we've done a lot of work with her. I mean, literally, I think I've spent 6 to 8 months probably just exclusively doing groundwork with her, and just being around her, even just to offer her the chance to like build a relationship and build some trust. And so the first thing that I do with her when I first come into the arena is I like to do a little bit of groundwork, and the groundwork that I'm doing is based on the groundwork that I learned from Mary Hackett, which is she's a fantastic YouTuber. She has a Patreon page where you can get training access to training videos and things like that. And she's absolutely fabulous. So I'm not going to necessarily try to explain the methods because I think she does a much better job than I do. But I'll leave a link to her page in the description below and you can check her out. I'm not sponsored or anything by her. I just think that following her methods has made a huge difference for me and Nani and our relationship, and just made a huge difference in Nani, period, because she was very anxious and very, I don't know, flighty. And she's much better now than she was. And so I just think that, you know, it's definitely worth it to check out, and it's really worked well for me. So, yeah, so you can see here, just the way that she moves in the arena now. I mean, she's quite relaxed. Her neck is lower. She's licking and chewing. And so I'm just going to walk her now up the side of the arena. And this used to be really hard for her. When she would go through past the jump standard, she didn't like how closed in she felt. And she would kind of get a little bit scared of that. And so this is really nice for her to just, you know, walk. And then when she gets a little bit too close to me, I ask her to back up. I'm just asking her, really just, this is all about teaching her how to relax in her own space and be comfortable in her own space, and, you know, just handle herself. You know, they have to be able to handle their own emotions. We have to give them that, we have to trust them to regulate their own emotions and to be able to relax themselves. And so that's what the work with her has been. It's been helping her to build the tools to do that. And so yeah, so that's what all of this groundwork is for. And like I said, you can go and check out, I'll leave a link in the description. But Mary's fabulous. I've talked to Mary and had a conversation with her about, you know, Nani, and I just think that she's a fabulous person and a fabulous trainer, and like I said, her methods have worked really well for me. I also love to give my horses treats, so that's what that is. They're little spoils. So yeah, so once we had done some groundwork and I was pretty confident that she wasn't going to freak out or anything, we moved to putting the bridle on. I had just brought it out with me. And it's kind of the same thing as with Lilo, right? So when I held the bridle up and went to put the reins over her head, she was like, no, I don't want that. I'm not that excited about that. So as she backed away here, so part of that was my fault. You know, I was trying to get the lead rope up in my hand and I shook it, and that's a sign for her to back. But so I wanted her to come towards the thing, you know, that she didn't really have an interest in. So every time she kind of backed, I was like, okay, we're gonna come towards the thing that's causing you pressure. And just kind of waiting, you know, I mean, I just don't believe in trying to force them to do anything. So I'm not getting mad at her. I'm not getting upset. It's just that she's not ready yet. She doesn't want it. And frankly, I wasn't going to force the issue. If she didn't want to ride today, I wasn't going to do that. I would have just done some groundwork. So just, you know, holding it up, letting her think about it, see it, ponder it. I think in a minute here, I just go over to her left side and, you know, just stand there. So she's looking, she's sniffing, she's thinking. And I mean, I know that she's thinking, so then I'm just trying to walk over to her side, and she gets a little bit, like I'll go to, you know, just walk up beside her, and she does tend to like back up a bit. She really wants you to be in front of her. Like that's just a thing with her that I've been working on. She's better than she used to be, but it's definitely something that we're still working on, is that she would prefer you be standing in front of her. And I think that it's a product of previous training before I got her that she likes that. But you can see here, you know, she doesn't love when you just try to walk to her side. And we've been working on it. It's better. It's better than it used to be, and it's improving every day. And now you can't really see what's happening, but I'm just standing. I'm just looking for any sort of signs of relaxation from her, because I think she was really just trying to figure out, like, what are we doing? What are we trying to do? Do I want to be a part of this today? I mean, kind of maybe a bit nervous. Like I said before, she's quite anxious and quite sensitive. So I think she was just trying to sort out, you know, how she was feeling. And we're just sniffing. And I just kind of let her interact. I mean, she's not one that's super cuddly, so I don't tend to pet her very often, like on the face. She doesn't particularly care for that. She's a bit, not head shy exactly, but she just doesn't like her face to be rubbed, and that's okay. Now I just give her neck scratches, and she loves those. So again, with the, holding up the reins and asking her to come towards the thing that's giving her pressure, and then just waiting. And here you could see that her lips were twitching, and sometimes when that happens, it's really a thing where they're thinking and they're pondering, and they're almost about to have a release of some of that anxiety. And so I waited, and then she licked and chewed, and then you can see she stood perfectly fine for me to put the reins up over her head. So all of this to say, it's just about patience and waiting and reading the horse and just kind of letting them have their moment. So I just kind of tossed the halter to the side for a minute and going to put the bridle on. She wasn't sure about the bit yet, so I just stood. I just waited. I mean, she was just looking around. She wasn't going anywhere. So I just let her have that moment to think. I warmed the bit up a little bit in my hands while I waited, just to... I mean, it wasn't that cold. I think it was like 60 this particular day, but it never hurts. So she looked over. There were some horses in a pasture nearby, and she kind of looked over at them and thought about it for a minute, and, it was fine. And I just waited. And again, I was just waiting for a lick and a chew, just something to show me that she was relaxing and that she was ready to move on. She's definitely one that needs some time to process sometimes, and so it's just important. I've just seen too many people kind of like force horses through things, when they're not really feeling, there. You can see like she was like, I'm not ready yet. So I kind of pulled her back to me a bit, and then she was ready. I mean, it's just about reading the horses, but I never want to force them to do anything. I want them to choose, that they're ready and to have that choice. I'm also trying to figure out for her, Lilo I've had for a long time, and she can go with a bit or in a bitless bridle, and it's fine. Either way, she goes a bit better in a hackamore, but she's happy either way. I haven't quite figured Nani out yet as far as that goes, and what kind of bits she prefers. So today I was just riding her in just a simple egg butt snaffle. It's my favorite to start them with. It's really easy. It's not anything really harsh or complicated. But she gets a little bit bracy on the bit sometimes, so I'm trying to find the right option for her now that we're getting back into riding and ridden work. Like I said, we've spent a lot of time on groundwork, so now she feels a bit more comfortable after doing the groundwork and getting used to me and learning that I will listen to her. She's getting more comfortable expressing herself, and so I can tell that this isn't exactly the right bit for her, but I just haven't figured out what that's going to be yet. So you can see, she's ready to go. She follows me over so that I can set the halter out of the way. I don't want anything on the ground that she can get all tangled up in while we're riding, so, I just grab her and we walk over to the mounting block, and we're going to mount up and get started. And we're a bit far away in this part of the video, but with her, she has a tendency to walk off when I start mounting, or she did when I first started riding her, and she's gotten a lot better about that. So I just like to take things really, really slow when I mount her, and I do a couple of little like hops and jumps and things, and just let her think about it. And she, like I said, she's gotten a lot better. There we go. Then I just let her walk around. And with her, she's really interesting because I think she was trained before I got her. She goes on an extremely loose rein. She doesn't really know what to do with contact. But at the same time, she doesn't know how to neck rein. She only direct rein. So I'm not really sure what happened before I got her or why that was a thing. But that's something that we're working on, is getting her to sort of accept contact a little bit better. So right now you can see I'm just going to walk her around on a loose rein. Stand up in my stirrups a little bit and awkwardly adjust. But she's doing quite well. You can see that she's a little bit wiggly. She's only 6, and so we're working on straightness and things like that. But she's doing really nicely as far as being relaxed. You can see that her head is low, her ears are forward. You can just tell in her body that she's a lot more relaxed. And I don't know, I don't think that I have old footage to compare to, but she's much more relaxed. She's responding a bit better to my aids. One of the things that you'll notice in this video, though, is, because I'm leaving the reins quite loose for her to help her get used to the contact, especially at the walk, you can see that, like, I have no bend in my elbows at all, because she's so big, and her neck is so long, and she kind of has her nose stuck out in front, and so I didn't really have much extra rein to work with. So then I was just asking for a circle, and she did that quite nice. Yeah, see, my arms are so stiff. I mean, they're really not, like, the feeling in them was quite loose and fluid, but they look really stiff. But that was actually pretty good. One of the things that we struggled a lot with at first with riding her was that she would really brace against any sort of contact, and she would really brace against the bit when I was trying to ask her to turn or make a circle or anything like that. Even just like a very small, it's not like I'm dragging her head around or anything like that. Pretty much what you see me doing here is what I've done the whole time. And she just used to be very, very sensitive to that. And so it's nice to see her be able to do like a nice circle with proper bend and to be, relaxing into it. And that's a really, really big deal for her. And so again, and we're not going to get a whole lot of like fancy work or anything with her today. I just wanted to do some basic walk and trot and just, see how she was feeling and see how she was going. And she was actually quite good. It was funny because I worked Lilo first, and then when I came back to get Nani out of the pasture, she was like waiting. She was like, "I want to work too, Mom. Don't forget about me, Mom. I'm ready, Mom." But yeah, again, so this is, you can see her a bit on this circle. I want to say that it's coming up here in just a second. You can see her kind of brace against the bit a bit. There you go. See there with her head. And she kind of is like, I don't want to. But this is so much better than it used to be. One of the things that we'll be working on with her in coming weeks will be downward transitions, because she's the opposite of Lilo, where she, it's not that she doesn't want to go forward, it's just that when you ask her to slow down, she's like, "Oh, we're stopping." So we get some very hard stops, and you guys should be able to see that here in a minute. But she's got a much bigger trot than Lilo. It's a bit slower, so it's always a bit difficult. Well, I won't say difficult. It's just interesting to switch between the two, because I have this little 14-3 paint that kind of moves like a pony, and then I've got this big warmblood type mare that's got this big old trot. But it's fun to have different types of horses to ride, and I really enjoy it. And see, this is so nice because even though, she's kind of like got her nose up in the air, and so like that's a thing that we're working on. But even this, you can just tell that she just feels much more relaxed, and she's kind of pitching a fit with her head, but overall she's so much more relaxed than she used to be. And so we had a really nice trot around. I was really, really pleased with how she was going, and just honestly really impressed with her today. Okay, yeah, see here, see, she's throwing her head to the outside. That's her kind of bracing against the contact a little bit on the inside as I asked for that circle. And so we just kind of keep going through it. Again, it's not about getting angry that they don't do the right thing. It's not about punishing them or asking, or, I'm not doing anything different. I just keep asking until I get the answer that I want. And then she gets a release. And this is so much better than she used to be, you guys. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how difficult of a time we've had with some of the arena. It's really interesting because she's just been like okay on the side of the arena that doesn't have the trees, but the trees freaked her out for a really long time. And so to be able to trot around with her like this and have her be relaxed was really, really exciting. So then we had a little bit of a canter. It's not a perfect canter, but it is more of a canter than we've had for literally months, and I could not be more pleased with how nice and relaxed and easy this was. Like I said, it's not a perfect canter, but it is a canter, and we haven't cantered in a long time, and so it was just really exciting to see her feel that calm and relaxed, and to just feel like we had a little bit more of a connection than, maybe what we've had in the past when I've tried to ride her. I think that the groundwork that we've been doing really, really paid off, and I could not recommend focusing on groundwork more. it's just such an important part of our, equestrian journey to be able to build a relationship and build trust. And I think that we do that first on the ground. And so, yeah, this was a really, really cool day. And I honestly am just so pleased with how they both went. And yeah,